You know what, Sam?
What?
The Carolina Hurricanes are on their way to the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yes, they are. So yeah, Hurricanes have officially clinched, Sam. I'm very happy. 7 years in a row. I will admit, I think there is some success to that. Some.
Yeah, I mean, some years making the playoffs is considered a success. I think last year's achievement was a failure. But we've hashed all of that out. But I think it's impressive that I think we're the only team that's made the playoffs 7 straight, the only active team that's made it 7 straight years in this current moment.
Well, I think Adam Gold in his most recent episode that came out today,
I missed
as
him. I
we're
missed that one.
recording this, I think he said that there are like 3 other teams left, including us.
Okay.
And that includes Boston, obviously going to be eliminated soon.
Yeah,
So,
and Tampa probably.
yeah, Tampa's in there, and maybe Toronto is in there.
Possibly, yeah.
So, yeah, but what a success that has made on this franchise. But Sam, we know playoffs are coming, so we like to have a great partnership around that time comes. And who's that partnership with?
Yeah, we got a partnership with SeatGeek, so I know everybody wants to get into the stadium, and we help you do that. Get you $20 off your first purchase with SeatGeek. Use promo code Caniac Report. Playoffs are coming around. Playoff tickets go on sale next week, I believe, is what I saw for the Hurricanes. So you know what? Get your tickets and make sure you use our promo code if you haven't used it already.
Yes, definitely. And also, we do also have a link for donations. So if you feel like you want to donate to us, there is a link for that in both our YouTube and podcast descriptions. And remember, if you're watching us on YouTube, remember to hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you never miss another episode. And also, if you're listening to us wherever you get your podcast, be sure to leave a rating and a review and subscribe. It really does help us out.
Yeah.
Sam, a couple things happened in the NHL. Again, things really have winded down ever since the trade deadline. But a couple things. One, Pierre LeBrun tweeted this out recently, but the NHL and the NHLPA have officially started the CBA extension. And for those of you who do not know, you need a CBA in order to play hockey games. Sam, if they were in discussions, I'd say probably a little over, I don't know, what, 10 years ago or something, I'd be a lot concerned about us playing games, but not anymore because it seems like the relationship between the owners and the players have gotten a lot better.
Yeah, I think I'm hoping for a quick negotiation and get it all handled, and we'll play some hockey next year.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I'm sure you remember those lockouts early on in your Canes fan journey.
Yeah, we had one lockout. It was half a season, and ironically, that was the 1 year Carolina came one of the closest they came to breaking the curse. And my memory serves, that was the year with Semin, and Cam Ward got hurt, and that's all she wrote. Once Cam Ward went down in that year, that was it. We couldn't muster enough wins to stay in a playoff spot.
No, we couldn't. But that was the last lockout, and we hope there are not any more lockouts because, to be honest, I think a lockout hurts both the owners and the players.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's in the best interest of both parties to get the CBA done. And another thing, too, Sam, a couple of high-listed prospects got signed, and since we're getting to the point in the season where a prospect can play and not have to burn a year of their contract, we're starting to see these players sign their prospects. A couple I do want to talk about. One we faced, actually. But Ryan Leonard signed his entry-level deal with Washington. He was put on the second line, Sam. With, I
thought he
Dylan
looked good. I was at the game, and I paid attention to him just because, young player, and I like to keep an eye out on some of these younger guys. I thought he played well. I thought he skated really well. he made some mistakes as a young kid's gonna do. This was
He
also on a
almost scored, if you
he did.
remember.
It's also a second half of a back to back, so there's only so much that I was expecting to see from him, but I was impressed. Young kid that's got a very bright future in Washington, so good luck to him for sure.
Yeah, if you remember, he was the player that hit Anderson's pad with the puck, and it went up the other way, and that kind of started the Scott Walker goal, if you remember.
Yes.
So, yep, bright future for him.
Not Scott Walker.
I thought it was the Scott Walker goal. Remember, he kind of had a bit of a breakaway.
Yeah, but Scott Walker's not his name. Sean Walker.
Oh, Sean Walker. Wow. I'm getting two Hurricane players mixed up. One's a former, the other is current. Wow. I'm very sorry, guys. Sam, my head is strapped in 2009 Hurricanes team. But congrats to Ryan Leonard, obviously, for getting a contract. Again, I like seeing young kids get contracts because it shows that the work they put in is kind of getting paid off. So good for him. And
Yep.
another too is Gabe Perreault, and he signed his entry level deal with the Rangers. He's also playing on the second line, Sam, with JT Miller and Alexis Lafreniere. Yay!
Yeah, I saw
So
that.
that's interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, again, it's just always good for these young guys getting an opportunity. Also, kudos for them for having some sense of some kind of a sense of honor or some sense of decency for staying with the team that drafted them and not trying to leverage out.
I know that's a very that whole idea of college players leaving. That's a very you're very passionate about that whole topic.
Yeah, because if junior players can't do it, why in the world are we going to let college players do it? It's just it's not fair.
I agree. I really do agree.
It's outrageous.
Yep. But that's kind of it, I would say, around the news. Obviously, you had Ovechkin scoring, getting closer to Gretzky's record. Again, I'm hoping it's not against us, considering we do play them again next week. So,
yeah,
just really hoping. But now we're gonna get to talk about the Hurricanes for a little bit here, Sam. And the one thing that has made the news, and this was after, obviously, the Washington game, and we briefly talked about this in our introduction, but the Hurricanes, for the 7th straight year, Sam, clinched the playoffs. I think that is remarkable.
We're in. Yes.
So last night's game, I would say, wasn't as emotional as probably the Devils game in the very first year, because I a bit teared up the first year. But
yeah,
Sam, it's amazing how a team who has not made the playoffs for 8 or 9 straight seasons and then is able to do this, to me, is honestly night and day performance. And I mean, I might have some questions about the ownership, but overall, Tom Dundon is the one that started the whole turnaround of this team. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what happened. I think we've been on the cusp for a year or two, and then we finally got an owner who was willing to spend the money on the team. And that's what mattered, right? That's where you were able to round out what was already a pretty solid core group of guys. And that's what did it. We got pushed over the edge, and it's been fantastic.
It really has been fantastic. So hopefully we can make an impact this year's playoffs. I mean, I know there are probably some fans who probably think that we could win the Stanley Cup. I have my doubts, but
Stanley Cup,
we'll see.
Get to the Eastern Conference Finals. I think so. I'm gonna say it again. I just, when you look at the Eastern Conference, I don't see a team. I see only one team Carolina would lose to, and that's the Florida Panthers.
I agree. But
and I think the Caps are frauds. So
the Capitals, it's going to be an interesting round because I don't think that's going to be a round that's going to be close. Well, I do think it's going to be a round that is going to be close, is what I'm saying. But
Oh, I
basically,
think the
I think
Caps
that's
are
a
out.
6 or 7. I think that's a 6 or 7 game series.
I think the
Basically,
Caps are bounced in the first.
I think it depends which team they play. If they
I
play
think
against the Rangers, then yeah, I could see them getting knocked out in the first round.
we'll see. I don't think the Caps are good enough, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we
I don't
will.
want to play the Rangers in the playoffs, but we'll
Yeah.
see. I guess.
And another thing too, Sam, I mean, there's been some talk, obviously. I mean, we just played Washington. We're going to play them again next week. We also have a game in hand on Washington. Do I believe we get to be the first place team in that division? No. But if we do, it's going to be something, Sam. I honestly, I think if you look at the standings, I'd be a little bit more comfortable if we sat where we are at right now, just because you'd be I'd rather face an injury prone Devils team than
Yeah.
any other wild card team.
So
Honestly would.
just kind of looking at where we are right now, we're 9 points ahead of New Jersey. I think we need 3 more points
We do. Mm-hmm.
to to clinch second. We would need 9 points ourselves to catch up to Washington. We could get 4 because we have a game in hand against the Caps. So that's if we won that, that's 2. That's 98. We beat the Caps. That's 100. So then we'd be 5 points out. That brings the Caps down to let's see, 4, 6 games. I mean, they would need to lose. What was that? So that'd be 12 points. I mean, here I'm gonna just do some quick math. If you have something else to
Well,
talk about, go for it. I'm
yeah,
just curious where we are. Like, what's Washington's magic number to clinch the division? Is kind of what I'm going at.
yeah. Well, while you're looking at that, I mean, another thing too about us clinching the playoffs is that the expectation heading into this season was the fact that there are quite a few people, and I would say a couple of journalists out there that projected Carolina to miss the playoffs. Well, boy, they were wrong. Really wrong.
112 points is the most the Hurricanes can get.
Mm-hmm.
So, if Carolina wins 8 straight, and I believe they can do that. By the way, every team I think on that last bit of schedule I think is winnable. So I think Carolina could get 112 points on the season. We play Detroit, Boston. We should beat Detroit, beat Boston, beat Buffalo. We just beat Washington. If we can beat Washington, that Washington game is key. You have
It
to
really
win that.
is.
You
Yeah.
have to win that game if you have a hope and a prayer of catching the Capitals. The Rangers have been a train wreck this year. You should be able to take out New York. We've had our way with Toronto this year at home. Do that. Montreal and Ottawa are at the end of the season. Carolina could win all those games just as easily. So, I mean, I think Carolina's in a decent spot here to have a shot at the division. Is it likely? No, because the Caps obviously they need 7 points to get to 112. Then they would need probably so they need their magic number. They need to win 4 of their last 7, so they can lose 3 currently.
Interesting.
So it's a combination of Carolina losing 4 and Washington winning 4.
Which makes it
To
very
get to that.
difficult to get above Washington in the
Sure.
standings.
Hey, Washington lost to Buffalo this last week, so I mean, you never know.
Yeah, they did. So we'll see how that goes. But Sam, back to what I said also about us clinching the playoffs. Remember, we had that mass exodus this past season with a lot of good quality players leaving. I did not like if you were to tell me, Sam, that the Hurricanes would finish the season way over 100 points, top 2 in the division, I'd probably be laughing right now. Because I'd probably be like, I expected this team to be probably a wild card team, a team that barely got in. But they have kind of, I would say, exceeded my expectations. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, they have. They've exceeded expectations. We always tampered expectations for this year. And I think really next year is going to be the big year. But I mean, whatever you get this year, I think anything more than one round of the playoff, I think getting to the playoffs this year is an accomplishment. I think that's a successful season. Um, you went around in the playoffs, and I think you've had an even better year than expected.
Yeah,
So
I
anything you do
agree.
in the playoffs, I think that's more than a winning a round. I think it's a icing on the cake.
Yeah, and I think part of that too, of kind of the expectations probably being a little bit lowered too, is the whole drama with the Rantanen thing.
Yeah,
I mean, I mean, we saw the return for the Rantanen thing. It's not like it was over the moon of like we got the better end of that trade,
yeah.
but it's surprisingly worked out, and I'm loving Stankoven.
Yeah, it's worked out really well for us. Stankoven's been great. He wasn't part of the deal, but the addition of Yankowski has been nothing but excellent. I mean, Carolina has players and pieces that now fit, and that want to be here, and I think that's so important, right? If you don't want to be here, you don't want to be here, and he didn't, and Rantanen didn't want to be here, and Stankoven and Yankowski want to be here, so that matters. That matters a lot.
Sam, there's an opportunity there for you to say yank and stank.
No, I'm not going to say that. I don't know why. I'm not. I cannot bring myself to say that. So
Really? Oh, I
yeah,
think it's funny.
it's funny, but I can't.
I'm still waiting for the moment where the audience is ready to see Stankoven get the first star, just so they can just yell stank, stank, stank. So that'd be so funny.
Yeah,
I'm hoping that happens. But Sam, another thing too is I think we had a successful homestand. It was a 4-game homestand.
yep.
We got
Won 3 or 4.
points. Yeah, 6 points out of a possible 8. Very, very good. Honestly, I think we could have won all 4. If you look at that Nashville game, I
Yep.
thought we were the better team.
Yeah. Well, you ran into UC Saros,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and that's just how it is.
Yeah, definitely.
No other
And
explanation for it. Nashville wasn't great, but UC Saros was, and that's why they pay him the money that he gets paid. And I think he's one of the best goalies in the National Hockey League.
yes, and another thing too, this just came out moments before we recorded, Sam, but we called up Justin Robidas from Chicago. A little bit bewildered by that, considering that I thought there were quite a few other players on Chicago that I think was uh, more of an argument to call up. Bradley Nadeau, who is could be reaching a record with Chicago in
And
goals.
maybe that's why they kept him down.
It could be.
Give him that
And
opportunity to do that. And maybe they believe, you know, it's better for his develop. Just thinking out loud, because I haven't thought about this other than just annoyed that it's not Nadeau. Is maybe they're looking at, oh, you know what, Chicago's going for a playoff run. Maybe it's better for him and development wise to just play the entirety of this year in Chicago without interruption and get an opportunity to have a playoff run and feel and see what that playoff run is as a top line guy, because I think the expectation for him is to be a top 6 player, and I think that's his potential as top 6.
I
I
do
think he's
too.
highly skilled. He's a goal scorer. He's going to be on your power play, whether that's the first or the second unit. And he's also a reason why we know there's going to be a lot of guys who aren't coming back next year. And it's, again, just the roster spots that are available with plus the money we have. Like, it's crazy, right? We're going to have almost 40 million in cap space, and we're not going to have a whole heck of a lot of roster spots, which is honestly an awesome thing, which means we can spend it on specialized players. And I think
Exactly.
that also gives you some cap space if you want to go grab and snag Gibson. You got more than enough cap space to do that.
Oh
If you
yeah.
do that, you'll still have about 30 million left to mess with.
Yep. Canes are going to have all the cap space in the world at next off season. But it is interesting that they did bring up Justin Robidas. To me, another player that I think they could have brought up was Juha Jaska, because I think Jaska has played like an NHL type of player. I liked him when he was up here. Do I think he's probably like another Tyson Jones? Probably, but he was able to get a few games under his belt. So it just surprised me a little bit with the call up of Justin Robidas, but we'll see how that goes, Sam. And let's now get to one of our sponsors, Sam, and then we'll get to recapping the Wild Washington win. This NHL season has been as predictable as a puck rolling on its edge. No one knows where it's going. That just means there's time for your favorite team to figure things out, and games left for you to get in the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your first bet. And if you are new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Big Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. NHL and the NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. NHL and NHL team marks are the property of the NHL and its teams. NHL 2025, all rights reserved. All right, Sam. The Washington win. The 5-1 win against Washington. Boy, was this a game. Now, granted, I did not watch this game in its entirety. This was Wednesday night. Usually Wednesday nights, I am preoccupied. But I did watch all the first period. And recently, before recording this, I replayed the third period. So I was able to watch 2 out of the 3. So I had a pretty good idea of what this game was. But Sam, the first period, honestly, the Canes, I thought even before they got the 3 goals, they showed that they were in this game to try and actually win it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I thought Carolina was all over Washington, all over the Caps. And it was a fun game to watch, especially because there were a lot of Capitals fans in the building.
Yeah, because you were there at the game.
Yeah, and I was at the game, and it was a fun night for that reason, because you could just feel the intensity in the building. And I was just, I mean, Carolina owned the period. They owned it before they scored. It was just clear that Carolina was in control of the game, and I think a lot of it probably had to do with the fact Caps played the night before, for sure.
Yeah, it could have been too, but we laid a beating on them in that first period, Sam, because we got 3 goals. You have Walker scoring. Basically, I thought you had good screens from a couple of Hurricane players in front of Logan Thompson, who was their goalie for just the first period, I believe.
Yeah.
And then you had Jackson Blake scoring from Hall and Ghost. That was on the power play.
Yep.
So was the Jarvis goal from Ghost and Aho. That was a power play goal too. And boy, the power play, Sam, I'm not saying that it is automatically 100% better, but it's improved a lot, I would say.
Yeah, what did we get? 2 of them last night? 2, 3 power play goals?
I think 3.
And yeah, that was just amazing. I mean, the power play looked really good. And it should be good. And I think you can give a lot of credit to that to Taylor Hall, who has been a catalyst, I think, for the power play.
McMichael, who I thought played freaking amazing. I think he's playing his best hockey with us uh, in, in his entire career here, even though it hasn't been a long career here with Carolina. That's Shane Goss's spare.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm telling you, I think he's one of the best power play quarterbacks that we've had.
Yeah, I think the only one that was probably a little bit better than him was D'Angelo. Just because I think Tony's ability to pass was just second to none on the power play.
True, but I think with Ghost, I think he's a little bit smarter with the puck too. So
he's better defensively than Tony was, but Tony was a very good power play quarterback.
He was, but I'm telling you, it's nice seeing these 3 goals. And another thing too, Sam, is what's nice to see is Jarvis, when he scored his 30th goal of the season. So we do have a player that has reached 30 goals, and we should get another soon with Aho. He's on the cups too of getting 30 goals this season.
Yeah, and I said before, I think Jarvis can be a goal scorer, and I think he's proving to, as he continues to develop and get better, that's a very good possibility that he gets to that level.
Do you think what we're seeing with Jarvis? Do you think right now? Do you think he's better than Aho is? Maybe this season specifically.
I think he's a better goal scorer than Aho. And I
do
think
too.
And I think Aho's a better overall player. Because I think Aho brings some intangibles and Aho's a bigger guy. And I think that matters.
I'd probably agree with that too. He is
now if Jarvis starts
bigger,
popping 40 plus a season, then yeah, I think Jarvis is the best player on the team. Coming under Aho too with salary, so I think that says a lot.
Yeah, it does. But I'm telling you, locking Jarvis up for like around $7 million something dollars, Sam, and he's popping over 30 goals probably. That's pretty good of a contract, and it's just going to get better.
No, it's a great deal, and he's proving to have been worth it.
Yes, and another player, again, he's playing on the same line with Aho and Jarvis, but man, he would have thought Jackson Blake would make this team, and second, play so good. Like I don't think I've ever. I mean, he kind of does. I would say play a little bit like Jarvis, but boy, his stick handling ability is the best I probably have seen on this team.
Yep. No, I think Blake is going to be a very good player for us. I think he could be someone who's
possibly.
I mean, maybe he's the guy. I think once he gets a little bit bigger and can muscle his way into the net, he might be a 30, 40 goal scorer. I mean, he's got the hands for it.
He does.
I think that's pretty clear. So, I mean, can these guys get there? And then you have Bradley Nadeau, who was already a goal scorer. You know, like, does he turn into another 30, 40 goal scorer? Like, do we have these guys? I think his floor, I think Blake's floor is 20 goals starting next year. So, I mean, heck, if that's where you're starting, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that is definitely pretty good. But Sam, we head into the second period, and Washington, they make a goaltending change because Thompson is out. Now, granted, he did get hit in the puck, Sam, in the first period where his mask came off. But from what I have heard from people who follow the Caps more than we do, is that Lindgren possibly might be suffering a bit of an injury.
You mean Thompson?
Thompson. My bad.
The guy that got pulled, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the Capitals actually posted their PR team posted that he was hurt.
Yeah.
And that's why they pulled him.
That is true. Okay. Interesting. That's very interesting for Washington because you never know. That could definitely affect them in the playoffs, Sam.
Yeah, for sure. If it's long term, I don't know what the term is of it, but we'll have to keep an eye on that down the stretch. And that could be a factor in if we end up overtaking them.
Yeah, because I mean Thompson, he's been very good for the Capitals. So just keep an eye on that. But Sam, in the second period, honestly, he's been one of my favorites probably ever since we acquired him. But Stankoven, Sam, he scores from Roslovic. And I would say this, I thought Roslovic, from what I have seen, I thought this was one of his best games. I thought he played very good. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I agree as well. And we've
Yep.
had. I thought everybody played well. I'm not really. I just when I watched the game, I didn't see anybody who I was like, oh, you weren't very good tonight. I thought everyone was. I thought everyone was going on all cylinders tonight. This was a rivalry game, and they showed up.
And Carolina needed this game more, I would say, than
Yeah,
Washington did.
I think we needed it more, but I also um at the same time, no. Like like if it had gotten out of hand, I think we would have let it go. Just because we're gonna we're a playoff team, we're gonna get in the playoffs because at some point someone's gonna win, someone's gonna lose, and I think again that's
Mhm.
why Jordan Stahl didn't play and why I think Svetch got pulled out of the game after he got hurt again. I don't know what's going on
But
there.
we did get word from Brindamore after the game that he says it's not serious. So
No, and that's why they pulled him out because the game is irrelevant to us at
it
this
is.
point.
Yeah,
It's keep
I
guys
agree.
healthy.
Yep. But then Sam, unfortunately, Ovechkin does score this game. And I didn't see the first penalty, but I saw the Brent Burns penalty, Sam, and I was like, where is the hold? I didn't understand that call at all.
No, it was a joke. Like I said before, league memo was sent out. Make sure Ovechkin gets a goal tonight. Caps couldn't do squat 5-on-4 or 5-on-5, so you had to find a phantom penalty to get Ovechkin his 5-on-3 opportunity.
Yeah, that was just ridiculous. Oh, and another thing too, Sam, the commissioner was at the game last night.
Yep, the commissioner and from my understanding, Wayne Gretzky are following the Caps until Ovechkin breaks the record.
Yeah, in fact, in the first intermission, because I saw this as I was trying to watch the third period, but Gary Bettman was actually interviewed by Tripp and Mike, believe it or not.
Yep, I
So that
saw
was a
that.
pretty cool and that was pretty cool interview right there.
Yeah, I saw that they were having an interview. It was on the monitors that were when we in our season tickets. You can see the Bally broadcast on a big screen that's up there. So I saw that the commissioner was being interviewed. I didn't hear the interview or know what was said, but I saw it.
Yeah, it was a really good interview. For those who are curious of knowing what Batman's like, I encourage you to watch that. But Sam, back to the game because the third period is where the physicality started. And as I was watching that third period, Sam, it kind of all started with Wilson kind of trying to come in for a hit on Aho. He hurts himself in the process, which I found a little bit funny. But because of that, he was chirping at Aho. And from the rumors that I have heard is he said I think he one of the stuff that he was yelling at with Aho was you're not going to let your players protect you. You guys are a soft team. You guys don't hit or something along those lines. And when I heard that, I'm like, okay, yeah, the Hurricanes aren't a fighting team, but I also believe this team at its best does have some physicality to its game. And I also believe too that you can be physical and not be the aggressor either when it comes to physicality.
Yeah, and
So
also, I mean, if you're having to fight, and that's how you're winning games, or you're trying to win games, you're not going to win games that way.
no, you're not.
You don't win games by getting into altercations and having to sit in the box for 5 minutes. You win games by scoring goals and going on the forecheck. And if that's how the Caps are going to play, let them play this way. I think if they try and suck us in to that kind of game, I think we're going to win every time because we're not going to fall for it.
Yeah,
That's
and
just not how
honest,
that is.
yeah, and honestly, that kind of reminded me. What was it? Game. I think it was Game 5 against the Capitals. It was the game where Ovechkin thought he scored on what was it, Mrazek or McElhinney,
Yeah.
but the ref waved it off, no goal. To me, that was an excellent game of Carolina getting under Washington's skin, because once they do that, Washington starts to get angry, starts to unnecessarily try to rough the other team in any way possible. Ovechkin tries to be dirty. Wilson tries to be dirty. And when they do play that type of way, I think they know they're probably going to lose, and that's why they get angry.
Yep, I agree. And I think we saw
And
that in this game.
yes, we definitely did, because something snapped, especially in Wilson, because I mean, yeah, out of that whole thing with Aho and Wilson came a fight between Jarvis, and I can't remember the other Washington player's name, but you also had Wilson just bulldozing Sean Walker to the ice on the power play. And then you have Stankoven, who, again, Stankoven, he is a midget. He's 5'8",
Yeah.
and he's going up against Tom Wilson, who's like 6'3", 6'4".
Yep.
And when I saw, I mean, obviously you're not gonna bring Wilson down, but he made Wilson tumble a little bit, and I
Yep.
appreciated that from Stanko. And what was your reaction when you saw that?
Shocked.
Shot.
Impressed. Love the spirit and the heart.
I know his heart kind of reminds me a little bit like Nathan Gerbe's, to be
Yes.
honest.
Yes.
Because when
And
I
I
saw
love
that, I
that.
was like, that's a little bit of, he has a little bit of Nathan Gerbe in him. And for those who have been a Hurricanes fan for a very, very long time will know who Nathan Gerbe is.
Oh yeah.
I remember the whole Chara thing
Oh
with
yeah. No,
Gerbe.
I love it. You know, if you're going to be a more skilled version of Nathan Gerbe for this team, I'll take that every day of the week.
Oh, I would definitely too. And then another fight came, and that was between Yankowski and Jost against a couple other Washington players. And I'm just like, man, this game is Washington, to me, I thought just lost it. There's like, I'm angry because
Yep.
we're losing.
Yep.
And there's also the Jalen Chatfield fight, which spurred so much controversy on Twitter, because all that I've heard is, well, Department of Player Safety needs to look at this. I can't believe, and the main argument was that Chatfield tumbled him to the ice to make him hit his head, intentionally hit his head on the ice. I did not see anything intentional there.
No, there was not. He was trying to just take him down. I didn't see anything. There's nothing there, and it's real rich when you got a team that deploys Tom Wilson the way they do, complaining, whining, and crying about something dirty. Like, come on. There's literal video of Wilson punching a guy's head into the ice. So I don't even want to hear it. And not like flipping him over and like him falling. No, like pushing his head into the ice. So I don't even want to hear it.
He has a huge suspension history. He really does.
Yeah, and
So,
Chatfield doesn't have any, so they weren't going to do anything here. The most they ever would have even considered would have been a fine, and I don't even think that's warranted.
Yep. Well, Sam, in the midst of all those fights, Carolina did get a power play, and again, it's Jackson Blake scoring. And to me, I honestly thought that was the best goal of the night, because Jarvis wins the face-off instantly, and as he passes it to Blake, and Blake just steaks around Protoss, I believe.
Yep.
And he just goes forehand, backhands, and just snipes it at the very top of the net. Yep. Oh, that was filthy.
Oh, it was unbelievable. I loved it. Loved it.
And the Hurricanes win 5-1. And it was so funny because I was actually able to catch like the last 3 minutes of that game, Sam, because the period went on so long because of all the fights. Yep. And when I saw the last minutes, when I saw the Storm Church as well, like there were barely any Hurricane players on the ice because there were like 5 players from each team getting misconduct.
Yeah, that was great.
And was even more funny, I believe it was wasn't it Stankoven who was one of the 3 stars, came out onto the ice
in the street clothes. Yep.
That was so funny. Oh my gosh. Well, Sam, what a great win. And now we have most of these games now are road games, Sam. So
Yeah, so the team's going to get a really good opportunity to develop their game on the road, and I think that's important.
oh, I do too. It's gonna be fun. Well, Sam, that is it for this episode, and we will see you guys Monday.